freedom comes, like what I mentioned earlier, when we really get in touch with our true essence of the truth of who we are. That is, we are more than the body, the physical. What I always advise to my students, when they are looking what is their path is, I always invite them to begin to listen. Where's your joy into doing things? We can like dream of, this and that and manifest, right? That's the future, right? That's far distant. But what do you need to get there? You need your vehicle, your channel, your conduit, your body. Are you in your body?
You're listening to Conscious Conversations, a personal and spiritual growth podcast to help you become your fullest expression. Enjoy. Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Marco Jack, your host and the founder of Divicati. Welcome to the 19th episode of Conscious Conversation, a podcast to help you become your fullest expression. Each episode will dive deep into rabbit holes and end with at least one big action step to help you optimize your mind, body, and soul, and leave the podcast feeling inspired, awakened, and empowered. Our mission at Divicati is to raise the vibration of the world by harnessing the power of collective ascension and collaboration. So I'm super glad that you can join us here today in this beautiful space in Hong Kong with a beautiful guest, Ambikha Devi Karma. She is a mother, yoga, qigong, breath work, meditation, conscious dance instructor, and more, life coach, massage therapist, past life regression therapist. She's a person with a lot of different knowledge that wears a different hat. So definitely we'll be going a lot of different rabbit holes today. She also has a background, a master in yogic science and therapy from India. I remember meeting Ambikha, back 2 years ago at a event in Hong Kong, and she was just leading this mindful, conscious body dance. And yeah, she just put me in the state where I just felt freer than ever, carefree, just connecting with my body. And so I really felt that resonance with you. And you were talking about some trippy stuff when you were leading it, facilitating, like connect with the higher dimensions and light workers, and those keywords and your vibration just attracted me to talk to you after, and then we kept in touch. It's been about 2 years since we first met, and so I'm super glad that we finally are able to sit down and have like a beautiful conscious conversation on some of the subjects, and also you're just diving deep, tasting a little bit of that knowledge from your knowledge bank. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Marco. Thank you so much. Such honor, pleasure to be here.
Yeah. As you can already feel, Ambikha has such a beautiful, calming energy. I just want to ask you, like, how would your closest friends describe you to people that do not know you?
Well, I just say, come spend some time with me. Let's go spend some time in nature and see what's there. It's really the presence, and it's a gift to just be spending time with someone and listening to them and looking them in the eye and just offering this gift of presence, and just talking about it or texting. It doesn't do any justice when you really give that gift of being present with someone, because sometimes words doesn't speak of it all. Sometimes we don't need to talk. It's just merely just holding space, just body, energy, being that atom, cellular elements. Even that doesn't need any words. So just I always ask them, you have time, come spend time with me in nature, and let's dive deep into our cellular level, our subconscious, our hearts,
Yeah.
our inner nature. Yeah.
So we are in nature right now.
Yes.
How would I dive deep into that cellular level? I get what you're talking about when sometimes, like right now, we're just connecting. I'm
Yes.
just looking at you.
Yes.
I'm feeling to my heart.
Yes.
We're fully here. We're not thinking about any other thing. Not thinking about, is the camera angle in the right place? We're just
Yes.
focused right here. Tell me how do we get to that? Like, how would you guide it usually? When
Just ask them to feel. Just feel into this moment. Just feel what's here. Feel the wind. Just feel the ground. Feel the earth. Appreciate the birds and the lights and the sun and the trees. And just notice that. And within that noticing, include me as also part of that nature. And that nature, the earth is in our body, the water is in our body, the air that we breathe, and then just feel that connectivity. And all of a sudden, there's this synchronicity, there's this harmony, there's this resonance that is happening within that energy. And just looking and just being, we go through beyond the physical. We see there's just atoms and molecules, and we are in this dance of energy, just energy field or light just bumping into each other without the limitation of the body. But to go through that, we need to just understand to ask the mind to just set aside for a moment, and so we can really break through the barriers of logical thinking of the high and the how and the why and what if, past and future. Just this moment. It's not going to be forever, just for this moment. And from that, we're in the presence. We're just present from each other.
So it's like an integration of everything and us being part of that, and it's sort of like there's no separation between the physical and the the atmosphere. Like, we're all just particles kind of colliding with each other in that energy field, in a sense.
Yes. Yeah. If we can just for a moment just let go of that identity and just break through that barriers of the limitation of our physical biology, and move through into that space of energy, harmony, nature, consciousness, and we're just all that, and finding the commonality in that ground, letting go of all the identity, all the labels, all of the reason, all the how and the why.
And so if the listeners right now want to feel that, a glimpse of that experience, and I want to experience a little bit more of that experience, how would I do so?
Well, just simply just for a moment, just if they can close their eyes and feel. My teacher always said that when our eyes are open, there's a massive energy, right? Because all of a sudden, when our eyes are open, there's a space. We are the space, and everything that arises from that space is object, subject, and that object and subject is maybe trees, human forms. But we created that. That's our reality, and that's a massive energy when our eyes are open. Now, close your eyes and bring that. Notice that energy, bringing that into your inner world, inner universe, and that's all that energy are going in. And now from that space, just now that the outer world, you're now observing that into your inner world. And just feel how you're sitting. Feel how the wind are gently blowing into your skin. Listening. Feeling. All the colors or images that you may see in the screen of your mind. or what or the brain picture that is producing. Just like when your eyes are open, you are seeing and watching clouds building. Do that as well when you close your eyes. Now you're just also watching and observing the vastness inside of you. But the senses are more heightened, right?
Mm.
You can expand more from this space. You can listen more, you can hear more, you can sense more. Thoughts may be there, you can also watch it. Sensations, emotion. Without having to do anything, just asking us to feel. And just listen. Tuned in, plug in, breathe. Even the breath. I mean, you also feel it. There's you notice there's different temperature when we breathe. There's a cool air coming in when we breathe in, and then when we breathe out, there's a warm air coming out because the air have gone through all the inside the body with all the organs. It's circulating now. It's recycling, and they changes. Your breathing in was different the moment ago. The texture, the volume, right? It changes constantly. Where it travels, your breath, when you breathe in and where it travels into the body, constantly changes. There's so much happening, so much dynamic. One moment ago, maybe your breathing was deep, then the next moment was shallow. And maybe part of your body start to communicate to you in the form of like pins and needles or sensations or pain. The body is calling our attention. And we're just watching, we're just listening. Then you can even go deep and really feel the ground that you're sitting on or you're standing. Feeling the bones in your body connected to the earth, right? The water, it's in your blood. The air that you breathe is in your lungs. The space, the ether, just in between the space of your cells, your disc, in your spine or molecules. There's spaces there. The fire, right? In your belly. I'm just gonna merge with that. Like, wow, I'm nature. Nature is flowing through me. I am immersed in nature. Nature is immersing through me. Yes.
Yep. Just directing that attention back to our inner world, and just in there's so much that we could explore.
Exactly. Yes. Just by sitting here, just by being present, just by feeling and just sensing, tuning in to what's here, without going in the future or going back into the past. Just here in this moment right now. Everything is here. Our breath, life, nature, connection.
And just want to ask, like, how has your experience been by operating your life from this present state? Because there's still moments where you need to go to the bank and you need to go do some marketing, you need to take the bus. So it's like, but you still can have this conscious presence in you.
Yeah.
Versus someone that is more scattered minded or their scattered attention. What has your experience been living in this paradigm?
Yes, yes. I always remember what my, teacher has told me, that one time he told me a story about this man. He was looking for peace, right? So he went to the Himalayas, and he stayed there, and he become peaceful and calm, and he doesn't want to live there. It's like, I want to stay here because I feel peaceful here. But then my teacher said, but it's not your peace. It's a borrowed peace. That's the peace of the Himalayas, of the mountain. Get your own peace. If you establish your own peace from deep within, then you don't need to borrow peace from Himalayas, from the mountain, from the forest. Then you can take that everywhere with you, whether you are in the chaotic world or in the street in India, in Rajasthan, or you're in Bangkok or in Manila or in city like Hong Kong, or you can be in some oasis or in Shangri-La. That peace is with you. And how do we establish that? Have your daily practice, established practice, whatever it is, mindfulness, meditation, raising your vibration, and really getting in touch with that essence of who you are, of who we truly are. Once we get in touch with that, that is clear. That stay with us. And you can take that anywhere with you. That peace, that silence, that stillness, because that is our essence, right? So once that is established, you can play with the world. You can go in and out of the world. In yoga tradition, they call it jivamukti, being liberated while you are in the world, right? You can play so many roles, wear different hats, but deep inside of you, your essence, and you operate it from that. Yes, we can play many roles, wear many hats. You can play it totally, so present, be there with your full totality. But then once it's done, it's done. We don't go back and analyze, I should have done this, I should have done that. No, you're in that moment when you are doing that role, you're present. You give your whole totality. But then after that is done, you go back to your essence. Go back to the center. And then you can play another role again, but then come back again when that's done.
So in the sense that this is home. This is where you're grounded.
That's right.
Where you recharge, where you connect back to your essence, your soul.
You're centered. Yeah. It's the center. Once we find that center is unshakable. And you can take that anywhere with you. That is established.
I find myself to be sometimes very ungrounded, as in I can feel very energetic, inspired one day, and then the next day it's like when I wake up in the morning, I need to warm up a very long time to go back to that conscious state. So how can how can people strengthen or reinforce this inner state, so this sanctuary within?
Yeah. First, I will also go back. Well, how did you sleep the night before? Right? How did you? What's happening before you even go to sleep the night before? Then that affects your sleep during the night. Then maybe there's dreams, and then maybe that disturb your sleep. What did you eat before that? What did you do? What was your engagement the day before? Did you resolve everything the day before you call it a night, before you close your eyes into bed? Or there's a lot of questions or unresolved stuff or conversation that was lingering into your mind, and your subconscious was processing that into your dream state, into your sleep, and then that's it. The next day it's just continuing with that, and maybe you feel lethargic or low energy or uninspired, right? So we need to check in, like what is my day like? How am I engaging? How am I living my life to the fullest? Am I living it half full, or to my full totality? Am I adding value each time I wake up? It's my action adding value each time into the to the flow of the consciousness, or to people, or to harmonize in humanity, or in balance with nature. So we also need to check in with that, our actions, our doings, our relationship, because this all affect in everyday life, in everyday living, being, breathing. So I would go as far as that, and really check in.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. Like, those are very good questions as well, because sometimes when you don't want to start your day is because there's unresolved things, or things in a closet where you don't want to like look into. So it's easier to sleep in.
That's right.
Avoid those questions.
Yes.
But what's your way of like checking in and to make that adjustment? So let's say, I am in a very like kind of like not confused, but like maybe things are up in the air. I'm not at home. My plans haven't been going the way that I planned for, but I'm trying to trust the universe and surrender and let go as much as possible, but still have an intention and still visualize my goals, right? Maybe the way it's like my goals are the same, but the way to get to that goal is different. So yeah, like maybe in your experience, when kind of like the situation that I am in happens and occurs and you need to make some adjustments, what is your process of like, I guess, like hitting that reset and kind of like hitting that fresh start to pivot and think of a new direction?
Well, first I would invite you to reevaluate your values, and your commitment and your priorities, right? Maybe there's an urgent, priorities there, or values, or your commitment, because that affects your goals, right? And if it keeps changing, then come back again and reevaluate. Why is this not happening? Where am I lacking? Where am I lagging? Right? And it keeps shifting. You're going to A, and all of a sudden you went to B, and then you went to C. So what happened? Check in, come back. How did I lose my focus from here? I was going straight, but then halfway I lose my focus. What happened? Well, I was gonna do this, but I didn't. Why not? So check in with that, and then when you saw some blocks there, see that and keep accountable. Keep yourself accountable. Like, yes, I said I'm gonna do it, but I didn't. Why? Well, I got lazy because I get so uninspired. Why? So keep checking. What happened? I was 100% gonna go there, I'm so sure, but then along the way I stumbled upon some challenges and I give in. So keep checking to reevaluate your values, your priorities, your commitments, your intention, your vision, your mission, and you see it's your whole life, right? And then you'll say, oh, right, my old patterns again are coming in, are kicking in. My procrastination, that's kicking in again. So what's behind that? Then you will see there's an emotion there, and that emotion connected to a belief, a pattern that has been going on, has been creating your reality, and it's been working so far. And all of a sudden one day, oh, I'm gonna change. But it's not enough to just say I'm gonna change. You need to be also check in. What made you arrive into that place? That this moment I'm ready to change because the old system is no longer working.
Right.
Right.
And just to give like a visual picture for people, like when you check in, do you do it like, is there a specific time setting that you like to do your check-ins?
Well, most of the time it's the triggers. Right, we live in the world, we engage with people, we go to work, we wakes up, or we open the door and our neighbor just, all of a sudden just started yelling or doing this, or, you're driving and someone cut you, and And then there's these triggers, like sometimes an emotion, sometimes it is just anger just came from somewhere, and we're so helpless because it came, right? Helpless means you have no control when things come and goes, and that's emotions, right? You don't know when are you going to feel angry, you don't know when anxiety will come, you don't know one day you're happy, then in the afternoon you were down, you're high and you're low, you're up and you're down, right? And that's helplessness. That's something that we cannot control, right? So when that triggers happen, we react. The body react with certain emotions, because this emotion got triggered because it came from a memory. Yeah, the body holds a memory, a situation, people triggers that, it comes up again, the body reacts with an emotion. And then with an emotion there's an action. Whatever that is, someone get angry, react, you slap someone, you hurt someone, you maybe, you get violent. It's a reaction from the emotion that is being triggered, that is untapped, that is unaware, unexpressed, suppressed. So I would, when that happen, when the triggers happen, you feel the emotion, anger, anxiety, depressed, I feel like fear, what am I so angry or scared about? No one was, chasing me. But the emotion comes out of some nowhere. I would invite you to just, instead of creating a story around it or referencing it, I invite you to just feel in that moment. Feel it. Give it a space. When emotion comes, whatever it is, sadness, anger, fear, anxiety, just take a moment and feel. It's not asking you to do anything in that moment, but it's just asking you to feel. It's a feeling, right? The body is communicating to you, hey, I'm still here. You haven't dealt with me. I'm getting stronger every day. So feel, tuned in. Close your eyes, feel, what is this? And from that moment, okay, this is my old emotion from my childhood, and my anger from my mother and my father. I haven't resolved, I haven't talked to them. It's just like accumulating and boiling up. So and this, it requires a lot of energy to hold this into our body. It requires a lot of energy, and to maintain it years by years, 20, 30, 40 years, requires a lot of massive energy. That's why people get depressed and get tired, and they don't know, because the energy is holding that unreleased, untapped emotion.
Right. And so if we constantly do these check-ins, right, and remove barriers, remove preconceived notions, limitations, mental constructs, right, who can we become, like, if we do this cycle of development? If we truly tapped into our potential, or we don't have anything that blocks us from achieving it, can you, from your perspective, who do you believe that people can become if we actually live that way?
Yeah, I as you were saying that, I remembering what is the Zen koan that I heard. It says he says there, this Zen Buddhist master, no self, no problem. Yeah, because it's the identification, right? Each time we identify ourselves to, I'm this, I'm that, and that carries energy, and that needs to build around, right? But then the freedom comes, like what I mentioned earlier, when we really get in touch with our true essence of the truth of who we are. That is, we are more than the body, the physical. Then if we can operate from that place, then, like I said, you can wear many hats, play many roles, but deep inside you, you know who you are. Then that is a massive potential. The world become a playground. You just imagine, right? Just imagine, like, you have superpower that you can be anybody, you can be anything, but deep inside you, you know who you are. So tomorrow I'll be this, I'll be that. It's a massive potential, right? If you can realize, wow, I've know that, I know I can come home to something really deep inside me. So, and that one is that part of me doesn't carry any identity, and yet I can play a role and be totally good at it. That's a massive potential. I mean, the world is a playground, right?
Yeah.
That's an untapped potential for humanity if they can arrive into that place. But because we hold on to an identity creates fear and barriers and limitation. So that creates separation. So that limits the potentiality of a person.
Right. And what's some good ways do you think we can remove some identity? I mean, you talked a little bit about like just feeling and going back to our essence, our core. By the way, that's also a message that I got from like my plant medicine ayahuasca ceremony.
Yes.
Where I really felt that there are two modes that we can operate on.
Yeah.
The one is like I'm just operating kind of like in my head, but the other mode that I am in is when I'm feeling my totality of my body. So it's sort of like what, like you said, like echoing the message that I felt from the plant medicine. And I think a lot of people, especially the people that I know, are more so in their minds, less in their heart.
Yes.
And so I perhaps living more in our hearts and a full body decision, right? Making a decision from the mind, heart, and gut, not just from a singular like headspace. That might be I'm not sure if that decreases our identity, but perhaps it helps us access another form of intelligence within our body. But it kind of like maybe softens the identification that we are our mind, and it kind of helps us kind of tap into like we are something more than just the mind. I don't know, but that's my perspective so far.
That is such a powerful message that you receive from the plant medicine, right? So what it's showing to you is that that the mind also get confused, because for many years the person that's inhibiting this body give all the power to the mind. So the mind also get confused, that it confuses itself, that it's become the driver of the seat. But actually the mind is just another servant. But because through time, through evolution, it can servant. But once the mind believes that it's running the show, then it separates itself from its connection into the heart. While the journey that should be is the mind working directly with the heart, and that's and miracle can happen from that place. But when we gave all the power to the mind, it's running the show, then we have identity, we have fear, we have separation, limitation, right? So this is the beauty of this work, right? All this work with the plant medicine and meditations and embodiment, because it's bringing us back into the basic, into the essence, which is our body, right? Feel, listen, sense, hear, taste. That doesn't require thinking, because also when you notice, when you breathe and fully, when you really feel and you really pay attention to how you breathe, and really you can even taste it, and you can even feel the temperature. Were you thinking?
No.
That's right, because we cannot breathe and feel and think at the same time. It's not possible, because breathing, feeling, sensing is in the moment. The mind's work is the logical thinking, and going to the past, thinking about the future. It doesn't know what's happening in the moment. So that's why the journey is bringing back into the body, and that's why we invite us to feel. When we don't feel, because the mind is there, it's blocking it. It's blocking the doorway. When we create an agreement to our mind that says, "Hey mind, I know you've been helpful with me when I'm booking my tickets to Bali or my account, but right now I'm gonna ask you to put it aside because I really want to really be in my body right now." So it's about an agreement, and just putting everybody in their right position, not getting confused with their position in the being of this, this person.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people shy away from utilizing the tool of feeling because some people just don't trust their feelings. Oh, it's not logical. What's the proof of that? Or maybe they trusted their feeling or intuition at some time and it hurt them in the past, so they blocked themselves from going into using that tool. But it's like your mind make mistakes as well. Does that mean you don't trust your mind? I think it's more about like keep refining it and not having one mode, but knowing which tool to use at which moment, which I'm like training myself to become better at. Because I'm mostly in my headspace. That's my default mode. So I'm, like you said, feeling more and living more from here and breathing into the heart a little bit more.
Yes. So I'd like to give a really good example of this. Is that I have one friend, and he came to me, and he's like so intelligent, right? He created his own business. He's got few startup, for how people to achieve their goal and become successful in life. He created these modules and different steps, different levels. Now his challenge is he can't feel. He can't arrive into the place of empathy. And then I asked him, so what's the problem? It's been working for you for some time, right? You've done this, CEO, you're young, you achieve all this. What's the problem? I said, I want to find out why I can't feel. But I'm working with people. So you see, he's working with people, and people are complex because they have feelings, emotion, they're changing, they have behavior, they have personality, they're operating from their different filters and conditioning. But he's there and said, I can see what's wrong with this person. I can see, but how come they can see it? It frustrates me. He can't feel that person is maybe operating from a place of lack of self-esteem or unworthiness. That's why he can't move on from A to B. He can see it. That's how, the top of the mountain is there. The ladder is there. But the person can't climb up because there's something in there that is still untouched, like wounding. And that person, that he can't tap. So he achieved all the goal of the mind, the highest, intelligent. But then the more knowledge he got, the more further away from his humanness, which is feeling. And yet he wants to work with people. So that was his biggest challenge. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. What I got, something came to me was pretty deep, was that if we operate, let's just say, purely through the heart or purely through the mind, that's okay. Like we can probably survive or thrive in some sort of areas, right? Depending on which field you are. If you're like a accountant, just mind, very good, right? You can go very far. But that's limiting. That doesn't develop our full human capabilities, because that's only maybe using 1/3 of what we're able to access. So if we combine all these senses and live from a more holistic and balanced type of way, then we're not only like progressing horizontally, let's say, progressing in our career whatsoever, we're also progressing vertically, like ascending our consciousness and vibration to a higher level. So it's like, both ways, all dimensions. That's just something that came. Yeah.
It also depending where you want to go. Maybe not all people doesn't want to go that direction.
Yeah.
And also, I would also invite, which part of you that wants to do all of that. That's a lot. Can you recognize which one's doing who? The ones that wanted to ascend, that's going there horizontally, vertically. Which part of you are there? At present, on that moment. Yeah. So that's also an indication to, the part that wants to ascend, but then there's the body, and then you have the emotion, and then there's the goal, and there's the mission.
Yeah. That's a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. That's why you get confused.
I want to speak a little bit about like manifestation.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're in a world where we need a lot of solutions, or probably, the listeners here
Yes,
that
yeah.
a little bit younger, starting their careers, and maybe we're like career focused, or a lot of people also are interested in relationships, how to manifest like a partner whatsoever,
Yeah.
right? So like I want to tie that to the energy, maybe that's just the connection that I'm thinking of making, like from
Yes.
the qigong, the energy field. I'm sure there's a correlation there, but from someone that is coming from such a high conscious, background, what's your kind of like, I guess, process of manifesting? I'm sure that because it's great to live in peace. It's great to like have this mode
Yes.
within us.
Yes.
But some people would be like, okay, so what? Like I live in peace for like 30 seconds. Is this just some sort of like self-delusion? How can I actually achieve something and make a difference and make some moolah? Like I'm sure it's also about abundance as well, right? Which sometimes we don't talk too much about.
Yes.
But yeah, I just want to understand your perspective on manifestation, abundance, correlated with like maybe energy and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, first, when we say manifest, what does that entails, right? Well, how does that start? It starts with a dream, right? We had a dream. Right? I want to be rich. I want to find a partner. I want to make millions, right? It started by, in this moment, I dream it. So right there on that moment, an energy is being created, and
It's right there.
right, it's right there. So how do you do to get to that? So we start by dreaming in this moment, and when we dream, we associated ourselves to what's the action that's correlate into that movement, into that journey. So we start living that dream as if it's already happening. So what does that entail? You start watching your energy. What is it like to be a millionaire? How would I feel? How would I move? What would be around me? What is it like to me receiving my partner, or I have $1 million in my bank account? So I start acting as if it's already happening. It is already happening because you had a thought, right? And that's energy. So when you believe that it's already happening because you dream it, then imagine what's it like if it's already happening for you. And from that moment, you start moving towards that direction and start working within your environment that support that dream. Then that start to begin to manifest. Because now you're building your dream. Now it become a reality, because now you're generating that energy that supported that dream. Yes.
Yes, I think we have to wear a mask.
Okay.
If he comes, we'll just do this, right?
Yes.
All right. Sorry guys, we had difficulties. We're at a park right now. We have different mass laws going around different worlds, so
Yes.
if he comes, we'll just do this real quick. But it'll be
Yes.
fine. But yeah, we were talking about abundance, and you were talking about how the dream starts with a thought, kind of like what Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, kind of says. You give it energy, and you live as if it's already happening.
Right.
You feel it.
Right.
You imagine it, and you say it's already happening because you already thought about it, and
Right.
you kind of find all the resources, all the people, all the settings within your network, within your environment that could help you manifest and supports that vision that you have in mind.
Yes.
Yeah, but you still had a lot of juice to go. So, like from there, how do we continue?
And also your energy. How is your energy like when you are in this daydreaming, right? It's really, we are daydreaming, right? When we want something to manifest, right? We're dreaming it. So also watch your energy. How start also vibrating in that frequency that you are already in that space, that you are already in that space what you want to manifest. And what is that also requires that maybe in your dream you will encounter that some polarities of negative or positive, right? But often that's one of the challenges, because people will start to focus on what the challenges, why they can't achieve their dream, instead of focusing on the positive things that will support on their dream, that help them to manifest things. But people can't help it, like, well, if I do this, I might have do this and do that, and it may come. But why are we focusing that, right? So it's like saying, stop it. It's like in therapy, they're saying, Doc, I keep doing this, but then I tried doing this, but I keep going back to this, and I now I'm trapped. Now I can't I can get out of the situation because I keep doing it. So it's like, stop it. Stop beating yourself. Stop trapping your own self. Stop barricading your own self. Stop bringing hindrances and blockages and to yourself, and then later on you can justify that you cannot achieve your dreams and things that you want to manifest, because you become the blocks of your own self. So stop it.
But what if there are actual blocks,
Yes.
like outside of ourselves?
Yes.
How do we deal with that?
So that's when the check-in comes, the checking in.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we really need to check in. Is your dream, it's called reality check.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just check, is this reality for me? Am I in the position, or this is just gonna be like a lifelong fantasy, right? Am I really capable? So do really check in to yourself. Like, okay, I will dream of achieving this, but then I haven't sorted out my own stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's a confusion. Now your dream become a nightmare.
Yeah.
Right? That's a dream becoming a nightmare, because we begin to confuse ourselves. So that's where the checking in with the reality really need.
Yeah.
What's the reality here?
Do you believe in cosmic divine arrangements, where things are unfolding for you, like the way of saying surrender or letting go and just allowing things to come to you? Do you believe in that?
Absolutely. I'm operating from that all the time. It's called trusting.
Yeah.
That you are consciousness, that you are in your essence, that you are part of nature. But also that requires becoming conscious, and that requires action, conscious decision making, watching your energy, be in your totality, be in your present, you're centered. Yes, you can just say, yeah, I trust the universe, but I won't do anything. But I trust, but I won't do anything. I won't do anything about my emotion, about my negative thinking. I'll just trust everything to the universe. So that is so true, but it requires for us to be conscious in order to be in harmony and operate from that place.
There's so many different paths that you can take, right? Let's say later on when you leave, you can take that path, or you can take that path. Or maybe that's a terrible example, because but you get what I'm saying. There's so many micro decisions that you have to make every single day. Like after dinner, where do I go, or what am I feeling doing today, or do I read a book, or do I start, or maybe bigger decisions, do I go to Bali, or do I go to Chiang Mai? Do I take the vaccine or do not take the vaccine? Do I study architecture, study food design, or whatever? So how I don't know, maybe for you it's easier for you to make these decisions, but I think for a lot of people, especially young adults, we're just so lost with, at one sense, we're very excited with the world. There's so many different opportunities, right? There's so many different paths that we can take, but sometimes it's also overwhelming, because how do we know which path is we're supposed to take? Granted that even if you know your purpose, it's hard to know which path to take to achieve that purpose. But for some people that they don't even know their purpose, their values, and then there's a bunch of decisions, that's even more confusing, right? So what's I want to trust the universe for sure. I'm trying to live more in that space, but sometimes making those micro decisions, like what's your approach to that?
Yes, that is so true. It's a very confusing state when we are being pulled in so many directions and so many paths and so many healing modalities, so many advice from parents, from people with authorities, from what we see in media, in news, and all of that. Also directions and from stars, from astrology.
Yeah.
What I always advise to my students, when they're looking what is their path is, I always invite them to begin to listen. Where is your joy into doing things, right? Because your path and what you really meant here to do is in the alignment on where the flow is easy, right? And just listen to that, listen to the flow, right? Where is that when you do things it's easy, and when you do it you are in your joy, and when you are in your joy it flows, and when you're flowing you're expanding, and there's no effort, as if like it's so easy, it's with an ease. But when you do things that you keep stumbling upon blockages and hindrances and challenges, also listen to that, right? It's just we begin to really listen, like where's the flow, like where's the flow of the river? Are you going to go against the river, to the flow of the river, or you go where the river flows? So we start by listening the flow, your flow. And I'm always looking at it, is that where is your highest excitement? Because that's where your joy, when you do things, when you wake up in the morning like I can't wait to do this. Or when you wake up in the morning and said, oh, it's another day, I'm gonna do this work again, I don't want to do it, but then I have to do it, like I can't wait to finish it. Just listen to that, listen to the body's reaction. Your body is talking to you loud and clear. But because sometimes we don't trust our body, we just plowing through life because we don't know who we are, we don't know what we need to do, so we just like settle for less, or for these things to come along because we don't trust or we deserve better, right? But the body is like, echoing you like drumbeat, like, hey, I don't like this. Stop bringing me to this work, this office, to this cubicle, to this, to this corporate work, But also watch your body. Like maybe, oh, I love this when you play music, when you're painting, when you're art, when you were doing sound healing, when we were in nature, when we were doing the plant medicine, or when you were, just talking about wisdom. Your body is like vibrating and it's like elevating you. Tune into that. That's the flow. You follow that, because that is the direct guidance from the universe that you are in tune with life itself. You are in tune with the vibratory frequency of life itself. You are in harmony. Then that's the flow. So follow that flow.
And I want to ask like two things, right? Because one thing, maybe we have the belief that it shouldn't be easy, like
Yes.
things that we should work hard for it, like, or else it's not, or we don't deserve it.
Yes.
Because if it comes too easy for us, or we don't deserve that success, or whatever the case might be, right?
Yes.
But is it true, like, let's say you follow the flow, but in the flow there's also still obstacles that would be in the way, right? But it's just you're just more natural and I guess prone or more suitable for that area of activities, or when you're in it you're just more engaged. So even though there are obstacles, you have more determination and grit to kind of trump over it. Is that the vibe that I'm getting?
Yes, there is obstacle, but then also understand where are these obstacles are coming. There's blocks.
Right.
Where is it coming, really? It's in the
Within
mind.
it. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the mind, right? So we are creating our own obstacles. And you said it very correctly. It's about a belief that life shouldn't be easy, that, we should work hard, and the belief come from, is not from us, definitely, because a belief comes from since we are young. Like our parents said, you have to work hard for everything, and we believe that, and we carry that all the way, that everything, that life shouldn't be easy, that we should work hard, for everything that we do. That's a belief, and that needs to turn around, because if that hasn't turned around, that's going to continue on. And so every time we feel good, we feel guilty, like I shouldn't feel good this way, or I shouldn't achieve something this easy, this shouldn't be easy, because that's not how I raise. But then we didn't realize that those people around us when we were growing up are also operating from their unconscious, so they're passing on that their filters of unconscious operation into us. But because we're so young, we just absorb it like a sponge, and we are begin to operate in the filter of our little unconscious mind when we're little. And because there's no one has dialogue with us and told us this, there's another way to live, and another way to live is just life can be so easy and ease, and it doesn't need to be very stressful. So it's just a different way of thinking. Like if there's a challenges, yes, there may be a challenges, but it's just a different way of thinking, of releasing the holding the tension from that situation and then seeing it in a different light. So when we see challenges as an opportunity, is still a problem? It's no more problem, right? Because each challenge is an opportunity to grow, to evolve, to transcend. So there's no problem. It's just a different way of thinking. You just have to go around it. But then, of course, it's going to require for you to turn around your belief. Then you have to do your work. Right? Your deep inner work.
Right.
Yes.
Wow, there's a lot there to absorb.
To unpack.
Yeah. But follow the joy. Follow the
joy.
flow.
Follow. And the joy is connected to the heart, you see? Yeah, when you follow your joy, that's in connection to the heart. Again, it's bringing us back into the body. And our heart is our creativity, our innocence, right? It's connected to our, happiness, joy, simplicity, right? Everything that is connected is the quality of the heart. So really, what it's being asked to do is follow your heart.
Yeah.
And heart is intuition.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just curious, like, how are you like when you were like 23 to, let's say, 26, like this period of your life, like, kind of looking back, how would you, like, what advice would you give to yourself back then?
I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't, because everything leads to where I am right now. I would have if I have to go back, I would have I could have been more gentle to myself. Just be gentle, because there's a part that I would go in and out of my conscious and unconscious, and I would be very harsh into myself, because I would be like, I want to get enlightened. I want to, my ego was like, I got this, I already know this, and I would caught myself just being so harsh to myself. So I would just, I guess, be more gentle to myself while I was going through the process of many levels of awakening and self-realization. But then again, everything happened in its own right course. I wouldn't be here if that didn't happen, and that situation lead to that situation, and that lead to this series of events. So that's why I was sharing to you early on for our interview. Is now where I am right now is energy conservation. And continue to arrive in the place of relaxation and stillness and silence whenever I can.
Yeah. And what, like, kind of going, I guess I guess I sort of know, but I never asked you. It's like, what is your biggest why at the moment for you on a personal level, perhaps it's like just become more enlightened, and conscious and awakened probably.
Yeah.
But like, what about the external part? Like what drives you the most, or what inspires you the most? What makes you the most joyful in terms of your why?
Before I used to ask why there's so much suffering, why there's so much pain, why people have to suffer that way, why people have to be so greedy. I have questions like, I can't believe they can hurt someone like that. I can believe that they will go to that extent to deceive people. These are my biggest why. And the more and because of that, my reaction is anger. I would have like rage, and that would affect how I relate to people, and my relationship to myself. But then the more I come into my senses, I realize that there's no why. It's just what's happening. It's just the level of consciousness of people. And like that's why Jesus said in one of his teaching, forgive them, Father, because they don't know what they are doing. And that translates into many meaning. But in my own personal experience, it's really true. It's really in my deep meditation, I would enter into that space and really feel the suffering in the ground, in the space, in the cellular level. And if you really touch that, if one can really touch that, the suffering, all you have, there's no question, but all you can do is just feel compassion and empathy, because it's really the confusion and ignorance is why people do what they do, and their level of unconsciousness. And sometimes it's not even their fault. It's just from where they are operating. It's the level of consciousness and the filter from where they're operating, and the experiences that they have in life that comes from that experience, and they operate from that place. And with that, they have to generate enormous amount of energy to create suffering to others, but first they have to suffer themselves. So that alone, I just feel compassionate, because to bring suffering, to suck in people around into your negativity or victimhood, someone has to generate it on their own. So they're suffering, and then they're creating suffering to their outside world. But first, they're suffering from the inside. So that I don't question anymore. I just have to just send love and feel compassion, to that person. And even compassion is also a big word, because compassion means camaraderie, right? Camaraderie. Then passion means suffering. So it says, I'll suffer with you. So let's suffer together. But for me, it's just like just feeling the suffering, but I'm not getting sucked into that. But I'm holding space for that, and I'm just there to just witness. There's nothing that I can do, but I'm just there to witness, and just continue to move into my place of the heart, and from that, arrive into a place of love, and just vibrate that into the field.
Got you. Yeah. Before we kind of end off, there's some questions that I have for you, but I want to kind of go back to the co-create, like the manifestation part, like especially the trusting part. Like, what's your approach to co-create with this universe? Because it's one thing about like trusting it, letting go completely, and not feeling that we are the driver behind every circumstances. Like, we don't determine where the birds that's like in front of us. I didn't do that. It just happened, right? Or
are you sure you didn't do that?
or the clouds, right? Like the movement of the space, right? So it's like, for me, I'm learning to let go and allow the universe to arrange itself, right? But there's also part where I can also insert my energy to co-create or be aligned or go with the flow of the universe, so to perhaps accelerate or kind of like be in that vortex, be in that channel, right? I don't know how to put it, but like sometimes you're out of the flow, sometimes you're in the flow. So for you, like, how do you like partner with the universe, be a co-creator with it?
Well, again, I keep coming back to the simplicity, right? The more question I have, the more I'm moving away to the very basic, to the very simple, is being in the body, right? I want to go out there, but then wait, I'm running 100 miles per hour, but I have the body. I'm not even tuned in, and yet I want to connect to Pluto or Mars or, Uranus and, Pleiadians. But I'm in this body, that's what I would really invite us, is to come back into very simplicity, to be in the alignment, to be in the flow, in the vortex. How can we be in the flow if we're not even into our body? Right? How can you connect if you're not connected to your body? So I would really come back to that, to the simplicity. Do you know the smell of lavender, or the frangipani, or the texture of the flowers, or what purple is? Can you feel your heart? Do you know where your heart is? Do you feel your breath? Can you hear your heartbeat? If you can do that, you're listening to the very essence of the heartbeat of the earth. Then you know you are in tune with life and existence itself, in tune with life itself. I would always come back to that, because when you are aligned with your heart, and the heart radiate this frequency according to the Heart Math Institute, right?
Yeah.
So that's in connection to the to the energetic field of the planet. So if I am in tune with myself, and I am connected to you, and I know that your heart is also vibrating this Toroidian circuit, and that is going into the earth, to the water, to the ocean, to the clouds, and it goes into the cosmos, to the farthest galaxy, to the tiniest grain of sand. Past life, different dimensions, parallel universe. But I know that all of that, I am the center, and I am connected to my core. And I know that I am expanding. And from that place, you can begin to align and flow.
That has to be today's one big action step, and that is just to connect into your inner world, to feel,
Yes.
to pay attention to every senses.
Right. Because that's your starting point, right? We can like dream of, this and that, and manifest, right? That's the future, right? That's far distant. But what do you need to get there? You need your vehicle, your channel, your conduit, your body. Are you in your body? That's where the confusion starts, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to go there. But wait, can you feel your body? Are you grounded in the earth? Can you feel the earth in your toes? So what toes? What? See, we're not even in your body, and yet you want to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's the foundation that we need to be on.
That's right.
Nice. Let's see. I got I guess like my question would be like, what's one thing that you learned that you wish you learned earlier in your life? Not this message, like another message.
Yeah, that love is so powerful. That love is such a powerful force. It can take the soul that is suffering in the fire underneath, the earth, or they call hell, out, and it can transform and heal people through love. Yeah, I'm talking about true, unconditional, unapologetic love. It's the love that is unconditional, that is not wanting anything, not wanting any return, not conditional. once we get in touch with that, it's it's we are, the love that we are. If you know that I am made of love, that all of this, everything that I'm seeing is nature manifestation to show us that you deserve this. You deserve to have this green and this forest, and I give you this mountain, and I give you this blue sky, and the sun keeps shining and not saying, hey, you owe me sunrise. I shine to you for many billion years, and the stars, it's all saying, hey, you deserve it, your love, because you're love. We're not asking anything in return. It's the love. Yes, it's the love. Just realizing you are enough and you are love, and all we have to do is just listen and open and watch the miracle unfolding right before our eyes, because we are deserving, we are worth it. This gift, this miracle, this love. Yes.
Like that's what I'm trying to do better. Like in Hong Kong, there's so many people, right? Like when I walk past the street, you see hundreds of people every single day. And before, the default mode is like either you're scanning and judging, or you're self-conscious that people are doing the same. But now it's like I'm trying to send love to people that walk past, like even though I don't know them, I don't know but they have a story. They are in the most, like in the truest form, like we're all the same. We are all it, right? We're everything, but maybe we're disconnected from that kind of like feeling. So that's very deep.
To see that, to operate from that place is really beautiful.
But like I want to like also, because you did something beautiful before where you meditated like in the MTR station.
In some shupo.
Just sending some love, sending that frequency, especially what happened in Hong Kong during that time, right?
That's right.
That's beautiful. Do you still do that, like sometimes?
Oh yes,
like in the MTR station?
Yes. We have this group called Be Love in Hong Kong, and sometimes we just converge, and we actually have an event here as well, and we just put crystals to different part of Hong Kong and send out that vibration and raise the frequency.
When's the next one happening?
I think we just finished. The next one will be next full moon, which is in 2 weeks time.
Oh, okay. Let me know. Might be interested.
Yes.
But I guess like how do you love everyone, but at the same time how do you protect yourself? Because like there are still like quote unquote like bad people that are operating in their level of consciousness where they might harm you. So it's like, how do you know what I'm trying to say? Like you want to love, but you still want to protect yourself just to beware of certain things, like
but first I'm gonna say to operate from that, to always become like looking at your back, like, hey, do you have good energy? Oh my god, should I give love or should I give this little? Or that's stressful,
Right.
Either you love or not. That's me. But first I need to check in with my own energy to see if I'm not projecting. It's to see if it's not my projection that is giving me the perception that this person, I can only go this far because it's got a bad energy.
Right.
So I have to check in with which filter I'm operating from, and it's not coming from a place of judgment. Right. So I have to check in with that constantly, because everything around me, I am the creator of my reality. So my view affects my environment. So I have to always come back to myself. So if I'm clear with that, and if I'm clear with my frequency and vibration, nothing can come through because your vibration is so high, right? So I have to keep checking in. What's my energy today? Am I in the capacity to really come from the place of love, or I have something to figure out and work? Otherwise, I will project my stuff to my outside world. Then I'm confusing myself. I'm deceiving myself and saying, I love everybody, but then deep inside, my anger, my sadness is eating me. So I need to keep checking myself and really come from that place of authenticity.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much for spending that conscious conversation time with us on this episode. This is one of the deepest episode that I have. There was one part where I almost shed a little tear when you were talking about how we're all just love, you know. Any last parting kind of things that you want to say before we bounce? Anything
Yes,
that comes to mind?
Yes,
comes to heart?
I would love to say is that, you know, whatever that you guys feel where you are right now, that you are suffering or challenges that you're having in your life, know that deep inside, this may not make sense with you, but know that you are whole. Remember, yes, you come with a question, challenges and issue in your life, but later on that same issue, that same challenges brought the breaking of your consciousness to ask the question. The asking the question already is your awakening. When you already started asking the question, that's already the awakening. So you see, that same challenges, that same question, that same event, that same experiences that made you suffer and cause you the biggest pain, it's also your ticket to freedom. So you see, you are the problem, you came with the problem, and then you came up with a solution. What did that say? You are whole. You are always whole, you are always pure. And you are love. And it is that simple. You're love. You're complete. You're no longer fragmented. You're whole. And that's a journey for you to really come to. It's not just an idea, but you have to have your inner experience, so it's become your own truth. Yes. Thank you.
There are so many birds around us today.
Yes,
I'm sure that's
yes.
because of that high vibes.
That always happens when I'm here. I'm doing my qigong. It all comes around me, butterflies and
Yeah. No joke. There's like three
Yes.
birds out there,
Yeah.
like six.
Six.
Like that's crazy.
that's 6 over there.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for the beautiful 19th episode of Conscious Conversation. I hope I'm sure everyone that listens to this, regardless how much time they spent with us,
Yes.
will get a little piece of information that they need, a little piece of inspiration that they need to feel more empowered, awakened, and inspired. So I'm sure I have a lot to take away from this episode. For me, it's just really to feel inside me,
Yes.
and from there, that foundation, when I'm connected, making
Right.
that full body decision, feeling, it's like every little thing that I need to do.
Yes.
I don't need to. I know where I can make that decision from.
That's
That
right.
sanctuary within,
That's right.
and operate and living my life from that home, that base. And if I need to go out, I'll go out adventure and come back. So thank you for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, find your center, and then from that, when you're established, then you can fly. You can play. You can play around, but then know where you are. Know where your center and grounded place.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marco, for this opportunity, and I wish you all the best for your future, podcasts and interviews, and wishing you all the best.
Yeah.
So grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Namaste.